course, we got a lot of problems, a lot of chicken and egg problems. Which came first, chicken or the egg? Well, you can't have life without life. Life only comes from life. DNA makes protein, but DNA is made of protein. And it's no good without protein to crack the code and so forth. Which came first? The DNA that makes the protein or the protein that DNA is made out of? Oh, you got dozens of those problems. You can't have a cell. Well, the same about the eye. I just said you can't have an eye unless the whole thing is there and it works. So which came first, the parts or the eye? No, they had to come at once because it doesn't work otherwise. Okay, so DNA is telling it's the manufacturer's instructions how to build and operate this incredible body. Someone has said, the body's about 100 trillion cells. To view just half of your genome, you would have to view 10 nucleotides every second for 40 hours per week for 40 years. And the apparent simplicity of this language is very deceiving. Geneticists can't even begin to fathom how this works. Let me quote Richard Dawkins again. As an adult, you consist of 1,000 million cells. But when you were first conceived, you were just a single cell endowed with one master copy of the architect's plans. See, here, they got a problem. They will not allow a divine foot in the door, but they can't really talk about what exists without plans, architect's plan, master plan. They cannot describe what is there without acknowledging there is some intelligence behind this. Even Stephen Hawking says, it's very difficult to talk about the origin of the universe without thinking of God. Well, of course it is. There's no other explanation. It won't work. Well, he says, the coded message of the DNA is translated into another alphabet, the alphabet of amino acids, which spells out protein molecules. Proteins not only constitute much of the physical fabric of the body, they also exert sensitive control over all the chemical processes inside the cell, selectively turning them on and off at precise times and in precise places. Now listen to this. Exactly how this eventually leads to the development of a baby in the womb is a story which it will take decades, perhaps centuries, for embryologists to work out. I mean, it just happened by chance, folks, but we can't even figure it out. Well, I quote, in contrast to that, what did Solomon say in Ecclesiastes? As thou knowest not how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child, so thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all. This is the work of God, and he has hidden it from you. You will never get to it. So that just as space is so vast, we will never be able to explore it. You're not going to get out there, guys. You're kidding yourselves. You cannot do it. You're wasting your money. Why not admit it? No, it's pride. Pride that drives this. We can do it. We can create paradise. We're going to, what is it? We're going to run the show. That's DNA is the instruction manual. What is cancer? I know some of you are praying for our daughter, our eldest daughter, Janice. She's still surviving. She's in a big battle with cancer. What is cancer? Well, it's a single cell that isn't obeying the DNA anymore. It kicked over the traces. It's doing its own thing. And that's what sin is. That's what man is. Man is like a cancer on this earth. He's not following the Ten Commandments. He's not following God's law written in his conscience. He's doing his own thing. And he's going to have to be excised. Going to have to be cut out. God cannot allow this to go on forever. You know, I have a simple mind. I just try to be logical. If I went to the racetrack and every day I bet on the same old nag that could hardly stagger out of the starting gate, never finished a race yet, but I keep putting my money on that horse, you would have reason to believe that my love for that horse far exceeded my common sense. Look, who got us in the mess we're into today? It wasn't some extraterrestrials. You can't say, Satan made me do it, the devil made me do it. We did it. We did it to ourselves, didn't we? Yeah, but we'll solve it. Let's have another peace conference, and we're going to get all the religions together, like Roger's been pointing out. We can do it. We can pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We don't want a divine foot in the door, and science is going to lead the way. And this belief in God is really evil, and we're going to have to get rid of it. Now, this is the world that your young people live in. They've got to find a natural explanation for everything. They will not allow God to be involved. They have put him out. He's not allowed in the equation. So I point out in the book, you remember the trial, what was it called? The monkey trial? Stokes, right. The infamous Stokes trial. What was it all about? Well, you guys are teaching the Bible in public schools. You ought to at least allow, you ought to at least allow an alternative, evolution. Don't just monopolize this thing. Let there at least be another alternative. Okay, so they won the trial. I mean, it was a joke, a tooth of a peccary. They named Nebraska man, but anyway, like a bunch of other frauds. Now, what's the case today? Only evolution can be taught. You cannot have, in any science class, you cannot have the alternative possibility even presented. Maybe this is created by God. Why is that? Because we won't allow a divine foot in the door. Because God is ruled out by very definition. So I point out, who is the most objective about this? Well, you've got atheists who say we can't allow, these Christians, they're prejudiced. They believe in God. It's going to color their research. Really? Well, we have Christians who believe in evolution. Now, I don't. I think they're way wrong. But theistic evolutionists. See, the Christian, we are so confident of our faith in God and of his word. You'll never disprove this to me because it can't be disproved. I don't care what you come up with. I'll show you that this book is true. So look, I'm not afraid. Look, so we have Christians, they're not afraid of evolution. Okay, you want to say that that's the way God did it. I don't believe God would do it that way. It's a very cruel way. It's a very slow, ponderous way over millions of years at the cost of billions and billions of creatures, But anyway, we're still Christians. Evolutionists, an atheist, he couldn't possibly allow belief in God. That destroys his whole thing.